Welcome to the A4NB4Y podcast, where we go chapter by chapter through the game. This season, we're covering Tears of the Kingdom. Last episode, we were able to talk about the Gorons and Death Mountain. And this episode, we're going to another classic location that is just west of the mountain. But yeah, we're covering the Lost Woods. I am your co-host, Ryan Fonzie, and I am a cluster of grapes.
And this is the other guy, and I am a freshly brewed sparkling water.
Lovely.
Bubbling and ready to go.
Like a LaCroix with our ingredients.
Yeah, soda stream.
Yeah, so as you might notice, Kim is out today. He's had some issues pop up at Yonoboko, so he's just not running on the same schedule that he normally does. So he is elected to step back for an episode or two until things get resolved there, and then hopefully we'll have him back.
Darn you, Yonoboko!
Yeah. So this episode we're gonna be taking on some story on our own, just the two of us. And we've elected to go north. I mean, I know that we're probably going to skip right over the Woodland Stable because that's a whole big part of a whole bigger picture. But like I said, to the west of Death Mountain, there is the Lost Woods. And I don't know if the first time you tried to go here, you tried to go through the actual Lost Woods. But I did, and that was not gonna work.
Oh, I did. That was the first thing I tried. I had just gotten done exploring Typhlo ruins, and I went south because I was like, I gotta check out my homies in the woods. And yeah, no, there's no like lights or torches to guide you this time.
Right. Yeah. I remember I went in, tried just every angle I could walking into the mist in the first place.
Same.
And it would just knock me out every time, to the point where there's like a little chasm off to the right, and I was like, maybe I gotta jump down here. And I went down there, and same thing happened. It just kept bouncing me back to the beginning.
And you know, there's an NPC somewhere. I don't know if it was a human or a Korok NPC. Someone somewhere says you'll get lost if you try to go into the Lost Woods.
Yeah, which I mean that's always what they say, right?
Right, but like this time they really mean it.
Yeah, this time is different. But if you notice on your way up to the Lost Woods, that path that goes from the stable up to the actual entryway, there is a legit chasm, not like the one I was just talking about. The one I was just talking about was just like a little cliff. But you know, one of the chasms that actually takes you to the depths. And it actually takes you into a different kind of entryway into the underground below the Lost Woods.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some light routes. I mean, there's really one entryway into the whole area. But there's a set of light routes down there. The Forest Coliseum is down there if you want to fight Hinox for a cool reward. But also what's down here is one of those big towers that lets you ascend into back up to the surface. And this is what you're really looking for down here.
Yes. And just let me say, like, the path to get to what I believe they call the Korok Grove in the depths, which is what Fonz just said is the path. It is littered with those trees that come alive. I want to say like every 10 feet, like one of them trees is coming alive on the path that I walked. I came from like the south side, and then I kind of like was exploring around and like went a little bit towards the north to get to the where you like kind of like go up, and like there was just those walking tree. What are they, like tree ants? Or I know they have a name. I just
Ever means.
Yeah, Evermeans. Those guys. Oh my goodness. It was chaos.
Talking about in the depths, all the ever means that are in that forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, going from light route to light route down there was a nightmare
Mm-hmm.
because of all those things. But yeah, do you remember what the reward was for the Coliseum down here?
This was the Korok mask, I believe, because it's in Korok Grove.
Oh, that makes so much more sense. Yes. So
Yeah.
if you take on the Coliseum down here, you can get the Korok mask that rattles when you're near an unfound Korok. This is how completionists actually get all of the Koroks. Doing it without that would, I imagine, be terrible.
Yeah, and
Even
so this
with
was
that,
like
it's terrible, but that's that's just me.
this was actually added in the Breath of the Wild DLC. I remember
Yeah,
because they came with like what is like the EX or whatever. So imagine you're just vanilla Breath of the Wild trying to get every Korok and not cheat. Like, kudos to you if you did that.
yeah. I remember seeing heroes paths back then that were just straight up grid lines.
Oh God.
Up and down the map. That's just what you had to do back then. Sounds like a nightmare, quite honestly.
I wonder what the range of the Korok mask is. Like how what's
yeah,
the proximity on that?
I imagine it works like a shrine sensor, but I don't. That might be too much, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty far.
So yeah, I don't actually have an answer for that.
Hmm.
But yeah, so you clear out these light routes. You can do the Coliseum if you're feeling like you want that mask now. And then you find the I've been calling them elevators, just because that's how they kind of function. It's basically a convenient spot to use your ascend ability to get back up to the top. And the one that's down here will lead you right up to like in front of where the Master Sword used to sit in Breath of the Wild.
Bum 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 bum.
Yeah, you pop up and it's like right in front of you. So it brings you right to like where you want to be.
But it ain't there though.
Yeah, it's not there. I remember before I tried to go the underground route, I tried to jump in from the sky as well.
Yeah, me too.
And that was not allowed.
It's like surely this might work. No.
Yeah, I tried to jump in right at the Deku Tree. That was a no-go. I tried to jump into the one shrine you can actually see from the sky, and you can get to it and it'll even show you the name of the shrine, and then it like kicks you back out. Like if you dive full speed, because if you have the wingsuit, you can do that and land. It'll give you like location names before it kicks you back out of the forest, but it won't let you actually do anything in the forest. So you really do have to go from the underground. It's like the only true and proper way into Korok Forest. Is to do this underground adventure. So we get up here and things are not looking good.
Nah, you could say that they're looking gloomy.
Very gloomy. All of the mist that used to stagger your system is kind of lined with red streaks.
Yeah, everything's like purple.
Even the Deku Tree looks like he's got like gloom smoke coming out of his mouth. Like it's looking real rough.
Yeah,
It's
you have
very
Ocarina
much-
of Time flashbacks.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time, like PTSD going on here. Like watching the Deku Tree deal with this problem. But I think there's like one. I mean, there's a bunch of Koroks outside, but none of them will talk to you. It's just ellipses all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
And no one tells you exactly what's happening, but if you venture into the inside of the Deku Tree, you can find a chasm. And this is like legitimately straight up an Ocarina of Time reference now because, back then you had to jump through a spider web to go down into the depths of the Deku Tree, and that was your first dungeon.
They did a callback.
Yeah, in this one you likewise jump down the Deku Tree to see what is ailing him, and it's our favorite.
It's not Goma. I was wishing it was Goma.
Yes, for sure not Goma. It is it's a set of gloom hands in a teeny tiny arena.
Yeah, and they give you like no structures to work with either.
Yeah,
It's
there's like
sort of flat.
mushroom platforms that are supposed to, I don't know, help you get back up or something, but I think even they have gloom all over them right now, so you can't really rely on them. And it legitimately is you just gotta jump into the fight basically. Shoot a bunch of arrows, do that kind of thing. Fight a Phantom Ganon down here once the gloom hands are all said and done. And once you do that, hopefully win that fight with the help of Tulin and Yunobo or whoever you have at the time, you come back out and Korok Forest is basically saved. So you get talk to the Great Deku Tree. He's definitely happy to see you and thanks you for your help. All the Koroks are happy. I think even the next time you talk to Hestu after this, he'll tell you that he's heading home because he feels that originally he was feeling some kind of disturbance in the forest, but he can tell that everything's good now, so he ends up coming back here.
Mm-hmm.
So you become the hero of Korok Forest. One thing to note is that the Master Sword is not here, which you should have probably guessed that it wouldn't be because why would it have come back? That wouldn't have made any sense with the timeline of Breath of the Wild and what we've experienced. The Deku Tree does mention that it is able to sense the Master Sword.
Before we even get to that, do you remember that when we did this, we unlocked a memory? Or what do they call it in this game? A tier. Or is it a memory?
Well, yeah, it's not a tier because those are like what you get from the geoglyphs.
Yeah.
But I think even from the tiers, they still call it memories. So I think it's just memory.
Oh, okay. So yeah, then like you basically, Deku Tree says, "Wow, it's been a while since I've seen you. It's been since you and Zelda came to get the Master Sword." And then it shows a flashback of the Deku Tree, and he is like, "The Master Sword has been fully healed since your battle. Go on, Link, draw it once more." And then like Link takes it out, and it like does a super shine, and I think that's where it ends.
Huh. Is it
I don't
even
remember
an
too much.
actual saved cutscene? I don't know that it is. Oh yeah, I think it's like it's like number 0, right?
Yeah, it's like first cutscene because it happened before the game started, like before Link and Zelda went down into the depths.
Yeah. So when we do our movie night for this game, this will be like the first cutscene that we see. And it's like supposed to highlight the Master Sword and how it functions. It says when it's flooded with sacred power, it'll become even stronger. So as much as the Master Sword was a like the ultimate weapon in Breath of the Wild, it's like this game basically just goes out of its way to say actually it can get even stronger.
Yeah, it gets Super Saiyan.
Yeah. So the fact that it broke in the beginning of this game suddenly it's like, hey, don't let that be the end of the story. If you're feeling like the Master Sword isn't good enough, it's like it could have been better, and that's why it broke. It wasn't fully powered even then. So they kind of it's like not retconning, but they definitely built in a little plot device to say, hey, it's not the Master Sword's fault.
Just you kids wait.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think once this happens, I don't really know like what you exactly did in the forest. The first thing I did was go inside. Well, after speaking to the Deku Tree, I didn't want to be rude to my host, but I went into his Undermouth. I don't know what that is, like the route, and went to see the shops and all that. And then I actually had the idea to ascend through the roof, or well, like that layer, and you get to this like secret room of sorts. Did you do that?
A secret room inside the Deku Tree?
Yeah.
I don't know that I did.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I was very confused, and I was like, so like, was this? So there's a Korok in there, and it's like sort of right where his eyes would be, but like you're inside. And I was like, was this Korok just in here like this whole time, like in Breath of the Wild? And he basically states like you're here inside the Deku Tree, and um, he is basically wanting to redecorate the room, and he like makes a quest for you to like help him redecorate the room essentially. So it's like a full like redecoration quest. You give him like materials and stuff, and you like help redecorate the inside of the Korok tree. It's really weird. And then I ascended even further to the top because I was like, the ceiling's low enough, I can go even up farther. I was like, what if there's just like room upon room upon stack of room up here? There's not, but you do get to the top of the tree, and my favorite Korok from the last game is still at the top. His name is Walton. And in the first game, he gave you the guessing game where you had to like guess his riddles and then drop like whatever item he was talking about. In this game, oh, did you do this?
I did this one. I did talk to Walton because I climbed up the side and got to the top that way.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's chill.
Yeah, he's the one who wants you to find all the different forest dweller items,
which are pretty OP.
Yeah, they're legit. I mean, he hides them pretty good too. I mean, the first one was really easy. The next two, I was just like wandering around the Deku Tree for a little while before I found them. He's hiding things just a little too well.
Yeah, he's good at it.
I just found the room with Oki that you were talking about.
Oh, you actually went to go do it. It's Oki?
Yeah, I wanted to see it. Yeah, it's Oki.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't remember his name, but yeah, he's chilling in there.
Yeah, I'm not going to initiate the quest or anything. I just wanted to see this room. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't even realize it was just a hidden room inside the Deku Tree.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, there's got to be more like rooms. Like I was like, Nintendo didn't do this. Like they didn't make like a full like skyscraper of rooms up in the Deku Tree. And I was like, oh, okay, they didn't. But it's just one. It's a cool addition though.
Yeah.
But the Forest Dweller weapons, I've actually been using them like off and on. Like, yeah, they only have like 6 damage, but if you attach like an ice fruit or something to them, its special ability, you can just use those forever. Yeah, well, until it breaks, of course. But
yeah, the bursting fruits and stuff, they get they're reusable if you put them on a Forest Dweller weapon. It's just really
instant
cool.
Freeze.
Yeah, make the just straight up. It's like the cheapest ice rod you'll ever have. Just
yeah.
But yeah, I definitely enjoy using them. I don't use them a lot because I don't come to the forest a whole lot, but I did hold on to one for a very long time after I got it.
Yeah, they have quite a bit of durability, and it's good that it's like a weapon you can take out in a lightning storm.
Yeah, that's always nice too. Non-conductive wood, you know.
Yeah, as opposed to that conductive wood.
Right. So there are more shrines in this forest now that we've saved the Deku Tree. They mostly revolve around gems, like the whole like you got a shrine gem, you got to take it back to a certain place. There's one Korok who's like, well, I'm not just gonna give you this gem. Like you got to bring me 5 golden apples to trade for it. There's probably some at the end of this giant gauntlet of evil monsters. So you can race through the forest, or you can just have 5 apples already and not have to do that, which is actually pretty easy in this game because a lot of apple trees just have golden apples. And then there's another one who, and I think you just get directed because it's not the same as before. It's not the Korok challenges that they used to be. But there's one where you have to fight a Talos to get the shrine gem for it. So it's just a straight up Talos with a shrine gem sticking out of its back. I think that's not the only one in the game either. I think there's at least another one in a cave somewhere that does the same thing. That's an interesting one to do. The most complicated one though is one of the Koroks I think talks about a special place that they like to go from the main zone, but they're like, but it's so foggy, like you can't really get there anymore unless you go from the sky, which is what we do. And it's that same shrine that you could see from before you saved the Deku Tree, but now you can actually land on it and it's okay. And I think the Korok actually meets you there too, like, hey, I found it. Like I came back. All right. And
Yeah, this one gave me some trouble.
The one where you have to dive in?
Yeah, because like from the sky, you can sort of, I guess, like it wasn't enough of a dissipation of the fog for me to actually tell that this is where you dive into. And so I actually missed it my first try.
Oh, okay.
And like I eventually got it. And then I realized there's a certain small little island that's directly above where like you actually have to dive into, because I was looking all around the fog and I couldn't find it, and I was like trying to pinpoint the area. There's literally an island like right above where you're supposed to dive. And I had just found that island. I was like, why?
Yeah.
I was looking at all the wrong places. There's literally, you just dive straight down. You don't even have to move the controller.
Yeah. I do remember it being a pretty straight shot once you had the right Sky Island. One thing about this one that you drop into, though, aside from the shrine itself, because we haven't really talked about our favorite shrines or anything. I don't want to start that now either, just because, you know, there's so many. But one thing I will say about this shrine is that now that you're out here in the fog, there is a secret out here. And if you look at the map, you might have noticed that to the west of this shrine, which is Ninji's shrine, and it's a blessing shrine, but if to the left of it is Lake Saria. And if you're an Ocarina of Time guy like me, you're not just gonna leave Lake Saria alone. Like you can't, because you can't dive to it and you can't get to it from outside. The trick is when you get to this Ninji shrine, if you look around, you'll find some silent mushrooms, just straight up glowing, and they are actually path markers. If you follow these mushrooms, you can end up finding your way directly over to Lake Saria. It is a little bit rough because you do have to go through basically what is a Lost Woods experience. Like if you misstep, the fog comes and consumes you and like kicks you back a few steps. But I guess the tip I would give is don't overthink it, because towards the end it seems really complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. But if you get over to Lake Saria, there is a tree with an open mouth with a treasure chest inside, where you can get a forest dweller bow that has a 5 times multiplier on it. Like it shoots a row of 5 arrows, and it doesn't respawn either. There's only one of these in the game, so don't waste it. I don't know if there's any vendor anywhere that will sell it back to you if you use it up, because I haven't. I put it in Link's house and just left it there. I was like, yeah, this is too special. I'm just gonna save this.
There's a shrine that you need this bow for. Well, you only use like forest dweller weapons.
Oh.
So like I think you get this bow and like the forest dweller sword and shield. It's like a shrine trial.
Oh, one of the ones where you gotta fight a bunch of constructs?
Maybe. I think so.
Okay. I mean, you can't bring this bow in from there, but there might be like another one of them.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably use one of the many cloning glitches to get another one. So you desire, if they haven't been patched out. I have no clue if they're still in.
I never took mine over to, the Rock Octoroks to see if they could fix it back up, because I did use it for a little while. But before it even got to a point where it was like it's about to break, I just straight up housed it. So I'd rather have this be a decoration and a memory than let it get used up and not know how to replace it.
Yeah. That's what I have with the dusk bow. Like, I have not used a dusk bow. I have it decorated in my house,
Yeah,
and that's where it will remain.
I have the dusk bow, and I don't even know why I have this one anymore, but the Demon King's bow, I have one of those up in the house too, even though I've gotten 3 or 4 of them throughout the game and have been using them. So, you know, is what it is.
You get a ton of Demon King bows.
You do.
Although I wonder, there is a finite number, I think, because there's probably only a finite number of Gloom Hands. I don't know if they respawn.
I think they do. They do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen it happen. I've fought the same Gloom Hand more than once.
Oh,
Which
dang.
I guess is useful if you actually do want to farm that stuff.
And it goes hand in hand with the Gloom set, which I don't have yet.
You don't have the Gloom set yet?
Nah. I'm telling you, my depths is not as impressive as my overworld. I've not found that many post statues.
Gotcha. Sorry, I just random side note. I just went back to my house to look at the bow. And I went over to my little fish pond
Oh no.
and then used the Mifa amiibo into it because those fish all drop out of the sky living. And now I have a fish pond with like every kind of fish across Hyrule just chilling.
No way.
At least for now. I mean, I'm sure Blood Moon comes, they're all going to be gone, but yeah, you can just dump a bunch of new live fish and populate your pond.
You better believe I'm gonna do that. I have the Link's Awakening amiibo, which also spawns fish. The Wind Waker amiibo, fairly certain that spawns fish. Mifa. I know there's another one that spawns fish as well.
Nice.
I'm gonna have a whole pond full of fish. It's sad too because I killed my other ones.
Well, they do come back after the Blood Moon. Your Sankey carp will come back.
Oh, I don't think I've noticed them back yet. I haven't been back to my house.
It's the only fish that's not scared by Link is the Sankey carp. All the other ones are like going crazy. But yeah, that's funny. I wanted to test it because I saw they were all like flopping around. I'm like, wait a minute. I know where these can go. A couple of them missed the pond, and you can't really move them after they hit the ground. So I had to just pick those ones up. But yeah, I got a Porgy in here. I got a Staminoka bass, a Hyrule bass, and
nice.
I don't even know, an armored carp, just cause. And
Which leads me to wonder, like, what does Link do when he picks them up? Because like they be dead.
He just got that hero's grip, man.
He just goodness.
Yeah, that's rough. But yeah, just a side note, little Easter egg gimmick toy thing to do if anybody's listening and really wants more fish in their pond, even if it's just for a moment. You can go ahead and do that. You can amiibo more fish in there. Got a whole fish tank going. All right, so we got sidetracked pretty heavy by that dumbness. So sorry about that.
It's all good.
So that's, I mean, that is the Lost Woods. I don't know if there's any other Easter eggs, any other secrets to do. There was a Korok that had a mission called, I don't want to mess up this name because it's actually kind of funny. I think it's a side quest called Whirly Swirly Things. And it's from Kula, the Korok. And he said they saw a big swirly circle in the water, and he said he can't go looking himself, but said that he would like to see that swirly thing. So this is 100% just a jab, like at Zelda Lorsters for being all about the Zonai swirl from Breath of the Wild and trying to decipher which swirls were Zonai swirls and which ones weren't. And using every swirly thing as a clue to the Zonai, because the Zonai don't even really care about swirls in this game. Most of their aesthetic has nothing to do with swirls, which is kind of funny. But they have a Korok who just wants to see all the swirly things. I'm like, this is funny. Like I really feel like they were just poking fun at the fandom with this one. Which is probably part of the reason I haven't actually pursued this quest yet. It was very funny when I got the quest. I was laughing. I was like, they didn't. Oh man, I'll have to do it and report back next episode.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. I don't think I've gotten that quest, so I'm definitely gonna try to get that and do it too.
Yeah, cool.
Was Kula the one who was like the main guy in the last game? Like the one who's like standing under the Great Deku Tree?
I'm not sure. Let me fast travel back over and check, because that's a thing that I can do
I
now
can't
that I've
remember.
populated my fish tank.
I feel like that guy didn't have a quest this game, even though like last game he had a quest. I think you have to give him like a rod or something.
No, Kula is he's just to the left like that guy sitting on a stump right in front of the Deku tree. Chio is who you're talking about, who has like the mushrooms and the vines and everything on his face.
Yeah.
To the left of that same path, under a vine, like under a root, he's just kind of standing in a puddle. His name is Kula, and he's a little brown Korok. That like he's very close by. He's right in the same area.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I've talked to him yet.
Yeah, he's missable.
The Koroks be small, man.
Especially with the main guy being so flashy up front.
I know. He's got that mushroom bling. You know, he definitely probably went to Hiteno Village. Or maybe Hiteno Village came to him.
Okay. He got that CC brand.
Yeah.
No. Cool. So now that we've discussed Korok Forest, I know that there were a few other quests that we thought we might be able to fit in, and I think at this point we do have time for some more fun out in the open. So do you want to explain what you came across, and then I'll talk about the other quests that I wanted to cover?
Sure. So at this point, I had left. So I had cut into Typhlo Ruins, and this was right after doing the North Lomai Labyrinth. I went down into the depths, started exploring the depths a little bit. I did all the Korok Forest stuff, and then I sort of went around the north of Death Mountain because I already explored like most of the south of Death Mountain. I got the Ember set, and let me tell you, that Ember set comes in handy when you're in the depths because you can just destroy anything pretty much. But that's another story aside. I'm not talking about the Ember set. So cool things to note. I was on my way to Gut Check Rock because I was like, I got to see what my gym bros are doing.
Right.
I have to catch up with them. I was super curious. I couldn't find them. I was very sad. No clue where they are.
Gut Check Rock is just like a ghost town right now. Like there's nothing over there.
I know. I was so sad. But on my way there, I don't know if you noticed, but there are two, I think they're like hot springs or maybe lakes. I think they're just like, honestly, just like water. It looks like Varudania's imprint in the land. I don't know if you noticed those.
Oh, yeah. Those are the salamander lakes that were a hint to get the Varudania mask.
Okay.
Yeah,
see, I didn't know if those were in Breath of the Wild or not. I feel like I just saw them, like noticed them this game.
I don't think they are because I think they're covered with lava. Like I think the other game that's just lava pool. Like that's not even like you can't traverse those areas. Yeah.
Okay. Either way, it's really cool.
Yeah.
That they kind of did like a hint to Varudania. But yeah, so like my adventure continued up this route and I ended up straight into Skull Lake. Okay. And so there's a cave somewhere. It's somewhere near Gut Check Rock. I can't exactly remember. It's like around Skull Lake, Gut Check Rock area. And if you go into the cave, it's like this long cave. I think there's a lake, there's a Stalnox, and you come out of the lake and you can like ascend up and then like you're basically in Skull Lake, and then there's like another cave in Skull Lake, basically just called Skull Lake Cave.
Yeah.
And I went into this cave and got probably one of my favorite armor pieces. I'm still wearing it in this game right now. All you have to do is beat a few Stakoblins and Stalnoxes. There's like a whole bunch of Stall guys in this cave. And you get
a Stalnox boss at the end, right?
Yeah. And you get probably one of the best armor sets in the game. Is the Fierce Deity mask. You just look like a total bad dude.
Yeah.
Like Link upgraded, evolved. It's so cool.
Is this the one that explains how to get the other piece? No, I think there's a cave that we'll talk about when we talk about all of the Lucky Clover stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there is I remember there was a Misko quest that ends up telling you to go here as well.
Yeah, there's actually...
It tells you to go get all of the pieces of the Fierce Deity set.
Yeah.
And then the reward for getting all of those is you get the Fierce Deity sword as well. So I also came here and did this.
So funny thing about that, this was my first Fierce Deity set piece.
Yeah.
And I had already gotten, because of the amiibo drops, which I think I've actually only used, like, I haven't used amiibo drops that much in this game. I probably used them like 4 times. I've gotten quite a few paraglider costume sets, which is pretty nice. So that's a plus. But yeah, I've only used it around 4 or 5 times. And one of the things I actually got on my rounds was the Fierce Deity sword as a drop. Very lucky. And so I had half the set already at this point.
Yeah.
And I put the Fierce Deity sword in my house, but then later on, I actually did end up doing the Misko quest, and I ended up getting another Fierce Deity sword. So I actually ended up fusing the Fierce Deity sword with something crazy. I don't remember what it was, but it was like 45. So I ended up having like a 90-something weapon, and yeah, it was insane. And it also looked cool too, because it keeps the base of the Fierce Deity sword. So it has that like spiral at the base, and then it has whatever you attach it. Oh, it was super cool.
Nice. Yeah, no, I did the same thing. I had it in my house. Up until I found out that the Poe salesman guys, like the what are they actually called in this game? The bargainer statues.
Yeah.
Once I found out that they would actually just sell me a new one, I was like, all right, I can use these as much as I want. So I started using them because I have way too many Poes for what things actually cost. Is one of those things where I was like saving up resources and trying to collect as many as I could, and then only later to find out that I never needed as many as I worked to get. So now I'm just running a surplus of Poes.
I'm still struggling on those.
Yeah, once you find all the statues, it definitely helps. Because then you know exactly what's available and all that, and yeah, Poes are pretty easy to collect.
Yeah. Especially if you know where to find the ones that are worth 20.
Yeah, just about every Yiga hideout has a big one. And any abandoned mines will have like a grand Poe chilling up top too. So like a lot of the big ones are by key areas anyway. So yeah, you'll naturally end up with a lot of them the more time in the depths you spend.
Yeah.
But good stuff. So so you got yourself a Fierce Deity mask. Good deal.
Yeah, so it gives you attack up +3. And at this point, I had at least one of the barbarian set. I don't remember which one. So I was rocking like +6
Nice.
attack up. It was nice.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, no, I was gonna say I think I just finished the barbarian set recently, so yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of like crossover with that. What's interesting is like your barbarian set's attack up, the fierce deity set is attack up, but then if you have one of the other classic sets, I'm the only one that I've upgraded so far is the Twilight set, like Kappa Twilight, trousers, all that. And the set bonus for those are all attack up.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like they don't have any intrinsic ability that's just on them to start. But I don't think you can even upgrade the Fierce Deity set. But you can upgrade all of the classic sets, like the Time set, the Hero set, the Awakening set, the Sky set. All of those you can upgrade, and if you upgrade them twice, the set bonus becomes attack up for all of them. So I can rock the Twilight Princess set now and have that attack up. It doesn't have a level, like it's not like it doesn't take up, I guess, the same spot as the normal where you see like the little triple sword icon. Like that doesn't happen. It's just the set bonus spot. So I'm wondering if you can still just like eat a dish for attack up and get it that way, and the armor set will just kind of compound on it. I'm not really sure, but because I'm not really clear on how the stats play with each other in this game like that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I do want to say I do believe I've upgraded part of the Fierce Deity set.
Okay. Yeah, some of the armor sets you just can't, but some of them just are really high resources as well.
Yeah.
I have not done anything with the Fierce Deity set.
Them star fragments.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the star fragment game.
Nah.
The cheapest one to upgrade would have been the Time set, because it's like the only one, it takes amber instead of a more precious gem, but it is still star fragments. I think the Tunic of Twilight is the one that is probably fits best with the art style of this game, which is why I upgraded it. And even that was like topaz or something. Like it was not a cheap set of upgrades. Because once you upgrade the first one, it's like 1 topaz and a star fragment. I'm like, okay. And like next level was like 2 or 3 topaz and a star fragment. I'm like, you're killing me. Why? Why would you do this?
Yeah, at least you're not rocking the Link's Awakening set and looking like a total cartoon out there.
I still haven't found the helmet for that. Like, I haven't found the mask for that.
Me neither.
I have the tunic and the trousers. I just don't know where the actual face is. And I've done all the sky stuff, so I don't even know if there's like a treasure map out there that I'm just missing or what. So that's still a mystery to me, that whole bit. But yeah, was there any other quests that you want to talk about, or any other adventures that you had lined up?
Yeah, there was one. So at this point, I think before I actually like continued southward on the Akala region, because I took this game very literally. Like I know you guys kind of like went all around and did like a bunch of things. Like I took this game very literally and just went exactly where they told me and like explored that region. But I did diverge a little bit, which I kind of sort of told myself like Central Hyrule is fair game, right? Because Lookout Landing and some other things are kind of like around that area. So I was like, I feel like Central Hyrule is kind of fair game. And there's like literally a quest at Lookout Landing that sends you to the abandoned Central Mine. So I went down that way. I did like all the Koga stuff because I did the Koga stuff very late. And I went left, which would be west on the overhead map. And I was sort of underground in the Coliseum area before. Yeah, like directly under the Coliseum area, like right where the Great Plateau would be above ground. And I stumbled upon this giant castle underground. And I sort of was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of the Fire Temple. It's like this giant castle. And to this point, I'd never seen a Coliseum. I've never done a Coliseum. I never ran into one in the depths. So I was very confused. And I jump into this thing, and I believe I was actually talking to Cameron at this point on Discord when I was playing this. And I finally found my way into the center of this Coliseum, and I was like, all right, what you got? I got so many good weapons. I just got, like, I still had some royal set left over from when I was exploring Hyrule Castle. I was like, I'm good. I got this. Whatever this is, nothing's going to take me down. And then I start the Coliseum.
Okay.
And it was the Lionel Coliseum. Of all the Coliseums that I found first, it was the Lionel Coliseum.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that to me? Like, of every monster in the game, you give me the hardest one. I run into the hardest one, essentially. I was dumbfounded. And I was struggling real hard. I was getting so mad to the point where, like, sometimes I would have gloom and just not even heal it. Like, I would just keep going and push through it to, like, learn how to dodge. And I think like the recent playthrough with Breath of the Wild, I avoided Lionels where you guys probably fought them because Master Mode Lionels are ridiculously insane.
Yeah.
And so I kind of lost my in tune fighting with Lionels and their movesets and all that from the base game.
Sure.
So when I came to this, I was getting absolutely stomped. And I only had Tulin and Yonobo with me, which you probably should have a lot more sages at this point. But yeah, I kept going on, and then Cameron kind of gave me like a really good idea to use my items, which I was pretty much just using straight weapons with my fusions. And I was looking around at the various items I had, and I started using Dazzle Fruits. I started using bombs and all these other things. I would use the stairs that are like on the sides of the arenas to kind of get like jump shots and get them in the head. And I was faring pretty well. And then for the heck of it, I threw a puff shroom.
Okay.
And realized that that is like one of the most OP strategies. And if you actually like look up, I guess, Lionel strategies online, I guess puff shrooms are one of the best strategies to use against Lionels, because while they're in the smoke, they, as long as you're behind them, they pretty much just attack in front of them, so they won't hit you, and you can pretty much like stun them, so you can just swipe away. And yeah, so I was just going through items, just using them, seeing like what worked and what didn't, and I finally got to the big bad Lionel, which you've done this shrine at this point, right?
Yeah, I did that Coliseum, yeah.
So
armored one at the end.
Oh goodness. Like, so I did this when I had just beat Armored Goma. Or Rock Roasted Goma. So like I don't, what was it, like 11 hearts maybe? 10? I was not, I was like around probably like 10 or 11. Maybe 12. 12 was like pushing it. Like if I got hit, I was either dead or very close to being dead. And combine that with the gloom. Like if I didn't have enough gloom to like heal me to full health after every hit that I suffered, I was done. So yeah, I definitely died probably around 15 to 20 times at this point in the game. If I came back to this later on with more equipment, I would have been fine. But yeah, the puff shrooms definitely helped me. And I sort of had a moment of, if you guys remember Cameron's adventure episode from the first where he fought the Gleeok and just persevered through it. That was kind of my experience with this. Like, I had a little bit more hearts than he did, but yeah, I think it's like 5 Lionels you have to fight. It's like 2, and then the last one, he comes out by himself, but he's armored and he's a white maned.
Yeah, there's like it starts out with a standard one. I know that, but then there's the blue white one, and there's a silver one, and I think the armored silver one at the end.
Yeah,
but there might be one more that I'm forgetting. Another.
I'm pretty sure it was 5. Yeah, because I know that some I know they came out together. It could have just been like the black Lionel
Yeah,
or whatever the base one is.
sure, yeah.
Or red, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard.
But that's
where
you get Majora's Mask, though, right?
Yes. Which is like one of the best masks in the game. And not only that, I had gotten a lucky amiibo drop where I got the Majora's Mask paraglider. So I do have that on as well. That's been my paraglider for a while. I've had that one on. And yeah, like the mask you just look so cool.
Yeah, it's
It was worth it.
definitely a good item to have. I mean, I know that it has the disguise mechanic. I haven't played too much with it, but I remember there's a lot of videos out there of, like even in Breath of the Wild because it was DLC again. But a lot of the people who would do the really high technical, like difficult moves, like you'd see them, posting videos of sniping guardians that they somehow launched into the air from 500 meters out or whatever. Like, it's just nonsense. A lot of times they'd be wearing this Majora's mask because it just makes things a little bit easier when you're just trying to mess around in the game.
Yeah.
To not have enemies just coming after you. It's kind of a status symbol, or it kind of became one. And now that it's, you have to fight a bunch of Lionels to get it, even more so, I would say. But yeah, definitely a very well-known piece of armor.
And even if you take it from a lore standpoint, like it's probably been, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of years since Majora's Mask. And to see the mask still have some semblance of fear in people who see it, like the bokoblins, is just great. It still holds some of its power, its doom.
Cool. So we got both sides of the Majora's Mask coin down.
Yeah.
Nice. I did want to share about, well, I mean, I guess at this point I could just say a reference from a different game. This one is a huge Skyward Sword reference, actually. And to be real, I mean, it actually does take from Breath of the Wild as well. Because you may have remembered that in Breath of the Wild, we talked about this series of quests where we were required to get a scale from each of the 3 dragons in that game. And each one of those scales correlated to a different well. There's like different springs, right? I forget exactly what each one was called back then. In this one, I think it follows the same naming convention for the most part. Yes, the springs, right? The 3 springs: the spring of wisdom, the spring of courage, and the spring of power. And so, in this one, I mean, the first one that I was drawn to was the spring of wisdom, only because there's actually a Skyview tower up there on that mountain. So I went up to get to the tower, and I was like, well, while I'm here, let me check out the spring of wisdom. And when you go to any of these goddess statues, they are in despair. They are sad. They don't want to do their typical goddess statue function because they are in distress about the goddess statue that is in the Forgotten Temple. So you talk to the first one, and she's like, "It's like, please, you have to help us. I forget how they name the main statue. There might actually be a hint to that in the side quests bits. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's like one of the first ones too, which is really interesting because it's not. I didn't do it first, but it's definitely here. The Mother Goddess statue. So they refer to the goddess statue that's in the Forgotten Temple as the Mother Goddess statue. But yeah, like this was the first one that I talked to, and she was like, "Oh yeah, the Mother Goddess statue in the Forgotten Temple has been I forget the terminology of this whole quest, but essentially it's been disgraced, right? Like it's been knocked over, it's in disrepair, like clearly something's wrong, we need to help. I can lend my power, but I need a scale from not a scale, sorry, a claw actually from the dragon Nadra. So whereas in the past game we were sent for scales, this game we're sent for claws all around. Every one of these 3 shrines do the same thing. They're all connected in a similar way as they were in Breath of the Wild, but instead of scales, they want claws. So this is a one of the things about this game is that hands apparently a big theme. Besides the fact that you're currently using Raru's right arm to do everything.
Yeah.
There's other things that have to do with hands as well. I mean, you do wear all the rings for the different sages. There's some, I think, like the fact that you're getting healed through your hand too, like all the shrines of light are going in there. I mean, we'll talk more about hand theme as it comes up in the actual story, because I feel like we'll probably see more of it when it comes to like movie night and stuff like that. But as a part of building that theme, they no longer want scales, they want claw pieces, because that's the dragon's hands.
That sounds like a handful.
Yeah, exactly. At least we're on the same page. So yeah, we're sent to go get these dragon toenails, basically.
Dragon toenails.
We go and we do our grooming session with the dragons. And you go to each one of these and they all kind of have the same reaction. They're all like, "Oh, the mother goddess statue, you need help." And then you bring them the offering and they're like, "Oh, now I can lend my power." And if you get all 3 of them, they're like, the mother goddess statue should be restored. Like, go and pay homage, right? Like, go back and check it out. So you go back to the Forgotten Temple, and the mother goddess statue is in fact back standing upright, which is great, because I remember when I first came in here, I was a little bit upset that the upheaval knocked over the goddess statue. It's like the biggest one in the game, just toppled. But now it's back to standing up, and it thanks you for what you've done and has a reward for you. The reward is the White Sword of the Sky. What the White Sword of the Sky is the goddess sword from Skyward Sword. And it looks pretty much exactly the same. Like, it is that. They didn't call it the goddess sword, probably for obvious reasons. Like, they didn't want you to feel like the game was completely breaking the lore of the Master Sword. Because that sword shouldn't exist. Like, the goddess sword is like the component for the Master Sword. So they renamed it, but it is the same model. Like, it's the same exact sword. So if you break it, you can't just buy it back. If you break it and you want a new White Sword of the Sky, what you have to do is get another one of the 3 different claws. Like, you have to get another set, like another 3 set of claws, and bring them back to the Mother Goddess statue, and you can trade those 3 claws for another White Sword of the Sky.
Oh, goodness.
Right. So let's just say that's another decoration in my house. Because I did not want to have to go through that whole collection mission again.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Isn't that the sword that shoots wind as well? Like, gusts out?
I'm not... I couldn't actually tell you.
Here, let me look it up. I feel like it does, because I feel like I used that in the last game, and that's what it did.
The White Side of the Sky was in the last game?
Yeah.
That's
it says it was an amiibo drop. While you'll need to do a bit of legwork to get this sword, it surely stands out from the other weapons in the game with its beautiful white blade and the heavenly breeze it produces. So yeah, I think if you swing it, it's sort of like was it the Windbreaker from the Yiga, where it like creates the gust of wind?
That is the Windbreaker, yeah. Accurate.
It's almost like Hylia was just like, I mean, as careless as Link is, like, I feel like I need to make like another one, like I need a duplicate. If this man's gonna break this, like, he's gonna have to do what the Link did like millions of years ago. He's gonna have to go through like and power up each one. We're gonna have like a Skyward Sword 2.
Hilarious. No, but yeah, I mean it's it's a fun weapon to own. I can't bring myself to actually use it. So,
Yeah, definitely gets points for aesthetic for sure.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's the main other mission that I wanted to cover. It's a little bit. I mean, it felt a little bit Easter eggy doing it, but at the same time, um, you know, I think that the reward is really cool, but at the same time, the fact that if it breaks, you have to essentially start over is really frustrating. Cool thing to do if you want a decoration for your house, for sure, though.
Yeah, and to couple that fact with the claws aren't the only thing that you're gonna want from the dragons. Like you could get their fangs or their horn.
Yeah. Yeah, the claws, the fangs, the horns, they all have different
On a scale.
benefits, and the scale. Yeah, the scale's like probably one of the easier ones to get.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also get shards of their spikes. So every time you visit a dragon, it's pretty much just good practice to go get some shards, or some spike shards, I should say, because they're free to just walk around and grab. Aside from on Dinral, who is emitting such a temperature that you need to have the right clothes to be there. But as long as you're wearing the Flamebreaker set, you're good. You can just run around and get those spikes as well. They function a lot like the topaz, the rubies, and the what's the last one? The sapphires.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think sapphire does like water stuff, right? No, sapphire does ice, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the opal
water.
is water.
Right. So it functions like the sapphire. So each one effectively gives you the power of whatever element the dragon has, and you can use it to fuse to different weapons. You can make, I believe, you can make magical staffs out of them. You can just attach them to weapons to make them temperature weapons, basically. Or you can put them on your shield. I mean, there's all kinds of different uses for them. I usually just make hammers out of them, but it's nice to have, like, if I need to have a hot weapon in a cold area just to keep my temperature at the right spot, having a Dinral hammer is pretty nice.
I also feel like they add some pretty good durability to the weapons too.
Yeah, they're legit. Like, they're just a good base item to get, and you can normally get 6 or 7 of them every time you visit a dragon. So if you're gonna go to get the claw, don't just get the claw. Get these shards while you're there.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, whether you get a claw, a scale, a fang, or a horn, those all put the dragon on like a 10-minute cooldown. Where if you want to get another one, you're better off just leaving and coming back another time, or just riding the dragon and walking away from your game for a minute.
Yeah.
Because it takes a while for it to come back. But those shards, every time you visit, you get just a handful of them for nothing. So yeah, it makes it a lot more worth it. And plus, I mean, just side note, you couldn't ride the dragons in the last game. This game, the fact that they let you ride them is pretty great. It's like they knew how many people tried to do that and just couldn't. They were like, let's fix that.
They're like, all right.
They're big enough and they're docile enough. You should be able to walk on their back without any issue. And so they just made that dream a reality, which is pretty great. But yeah, that's my Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest. That's copyright.
It is a little bit. But cool. I mean, I'm good to button this episode up. I know it's a little bit weird. We weren't expecting not to have Cam here originally, and I had just gotten back from a camping trip. I know,
nice.
Things have just been kind of crazy for all of us. So this is one of our least prepped episodes. So I'm sorry if that came across that way.
I'm so sorry.
We felt like we had enough to talk about still, where we wanted to still get together and do this episode, even with all of the challenges that it has presented. So thank you all for listening. But this has been our episode of A for No, B for Yes.
get all that.
Hi everyone, I'm Nerd Bomber.
And I'm Tactic, and we're two of the hosts of the Online Warriors podcast.
Our podcast started as a way for three best friends to keep in touch and discuss their nerdy hobbies like movies, gaming, tech, and more.
Since then, we've grown into a great community. Every Wednesday, we chat about the latest nerdy news before getting hands-on with our weekly nerdy adventures.
And don't forget our high-stakes trivia game. Come join the fun at onlinewarriorspodcast.com and every major podcast platform. And now, back to the show.